Today, we are kicking off a 7-part series regarding the 7 lightsaber forms.
This is where the fun begins.
While a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans know about these forms, I thought it would be beneficial and fun to go back through each one individually, as well as talk about one notable practitioner of each. While all the lightsaber forms are unique, they also require a solid foundation, and that's where we are beginning today. And also, if you are new here and just joining the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. It will help the channel out a lot, and I'll greatly appreciate it. So with that out of the way, let's dive in. Form 1, also known as Shii Cho, the Way of the Sarlacc, or the Determination form, was the first of 7 forms of lightsaber combat. As the most ancient style of lightsaber combat, Shii Cho was developed during the transition period from swords to lightsabers. Lightsabers were wielded in a manner similar to swords, so many of the maneuvers, such as attacks or parries, remained unchanged. As the most simplistic form, Shii Cho was the first form taught to initiates within the Jedi Order. Form 1 training provided the basic knowledge of sword fighting principles and blast deflection skills that were required for practice of all the other lightsaber forms. Form 1 lightsaber combat was wild and raw, relying on deliberate tactics and keeping primarily aimed towards disarming an opponent rather than injuring them. Form 1 was mainly used in sparring, and all of the moves and maneuvers were executed at perfect horizontal or vertical angles, with attacks and parries being perpendicular to each other. The live combat version of Form 1 was much more functional, the attacks being diagonal strikes at each respective body zone, with the goal of being to increase speed and reduce actual movement. And the body target zones were numbered as follows, with number 1 being the head, 2 being the right arms and side, 3 being the left arm and side, 4 being the back, 5 being the right leg, and 6 being the left leg. One of the attacks utilized by Form 1 practitioners was referred to as the Disarming Slash, consisting of a strike directed at an opponent's weapon in an attempt to rip it out of their grasp. Another of these techniques utilized by Shii Cho was dubbed the Sarlacc Sweep, a wide sweeping attack in which the duelist struck against multiple enemies. The most recent use of this technique that I can think of is Ben Solo against the Knights of Ren. A notable Jedi who used Form 1 was Kit Fisto, who was credited as one of the best duelists in the Jedi Order. His mastery of Form 1 was advanced, and he applied it in many of his battles and duels. Kit Fisto went head-to-head with a ton of dangerous adversaries during the Clone Wars, and survived. And one of those notable opponents was General Grievous. And Kit Fisto was basically almost able to defeat Grievous because of his understanding and mastery of Form 1, and that's because Form 1's specialization is against multiple foes, and that was well suited for all 4 lightsabers that General Grievous would wield while fighting an enemy. Kit Fisto's quick thinking and speedy reflexes enabled him to recognize vulnerable body zones on his opponents and react immediately, and this was demonstrated when he cuts off Grievous's legs, and then, later, one of his hands during their duels. However, with his final battle against Darth Sidious, it ended with Kit Fisto's death.
Fatality.
Despite Kit Fisto's own power and skill with Form 1, he was simply unable to compete with Darth Sidious. However, Kit Fisto also managed to last longer than his fellow Jedi Masters, being able to block several of Sidious's vicious attacks before falling. As lightsaber duels between practitioners of the Force became increasingly common, Form 1 was judged to be inadequate for the task, leading to the development of the second form of lightsaber combat, also known as Makashi. And if you were a Form 1 practitioner, then most likely you would also be at the disadvantage if dueling a master of Form 2, Makashi, or Form 7, Vapad. And while Form 1 is fantastic against multiple foes, it does fall apart in 1v1 lightsaber combat. So this is why it's important to study the other lightsaber forms in order to come up with your own individual unique style. So that does it for today's overview of the lightsaber form Shii Cho or Form 1. Next week we will pick back up with Form 2, Makashi. And as always, thank you for watching. I hope this has been a fun video for you and informational. May the Force be with you, and AT-AT is signing off.